And now for something completely different. So, why do we have that? Why do we have org charts? Why do we have this? Managers of org charts. It's quite simple. To create alignment. It's chaos otherwise, right? Without managers and org charts, how could we possibly get anything done? One is a passive mechanism for alignment. The other one is an active mechanism for alignment. One is the enforcer of the other. This is at the heart of almost every company in the world. And for reasons I still don't understand, we haven't questioned this enough. In 1851, the New York Times opened and began publishing papers. And in 1854, Daniel McCallum invented the org chart. Think about how many other things have changed in the world since what you see in that picture. Do you see the wheels in the mud in front of the wagon wheels, tracks in the mud in front of the building? I mean, my goodness, how much has changed in that period of time? It's not working anymore. It's not working anymore. Right? Look, think about all of the rapid changes. AWS. That particular platform has literally every single component that some kid out of MIT could bring together to destroy any one of your businesses. That kind of rapid change, enabled by technologies like this, means that we are all in constant churn. And you've heard that all day long. I was meeting with a colleague of mine the other day, big financial institution, told me that he had had 5 managers in 4 years. When I go and study these teams, I find that they're all tragically misaligned, working at cross purposes. Something else I've noticed, weak players in these org charts, protected by managers who are simply not pulling their own weight, are driving away the good talent, all because of this weird organizational chart. And I should have had a picture of that thing from 1854. It looks just like what we got today. I swear, I could pull that picture up and you'd say, yeah, that looks like my company. So all of these things, all of these issues are getting in our way of actually getting stuff done, of being agile. So why I say this is completely different is in, well, here. So that's my chicken. Hierarchies are inherently inhuman. Daniel McCallum created the org chart for manufacturing. That's what org charts are really meant to do. They are meant to enable you to think about your business in a mechanical way. And we often think about things in these very mechanical ways. And they're designed to get mechanized efficiency out of human beings. So way back in 1854, that made a lot of sense. And in the intervening decades, made a lot of sense until the internet came along. I don't know that it makes a lot of sense anymore. Anybody have heard of Valve, the gaming company? Okay. I want everybody here to promise me that tonight, after the shows, I want you to go and Google the Valve Employee Handbook. The Valve Employee Handbook. I'll say it 3 times so that you'll remember. The Valve Employee Handbook. I want you all to go look it up. What you will read about is a 400-person company who produces several $billion in revenue with no management structure at all. Fascinating. I became fascinated in this years ago. This is the reality. We don't work in org charts. We work in networked teams. Anybody here heard of the term shadow IT? Right. Shadow IT. The people who actually get stuff done, right? That guy or that gal who knows how to do that thing, and she's willing to do that for you because she knows you're trying to get something done. It's a big old broad network of people trying to get stuff done despite this crazy structure that we place over the top of our organizations, with this weird thought that somebody could be the architect omniscient enough to come up with an organizational design that's going to work right now while some kid at MIT is figuring out how to destroy your business. And you think you'll be able to come up with the exact right design. It's just as crazy as, I don't know, having a cab and having a central dispatcher and having somebody call into that central dispatch. What? No, give me Uber any day of the week. Or these infernal scooters that are everywhere now. If anybody works for one of those, I'm sorry, but I'm a runner and people keep putting them on my path. Anyway, so look, here's the deal. What if we could democratize alignment without hierarchy? How many of you use Slack? Yep, look around. Raise your hands again, please, really high. Okay, you're already doing it. You're already aligning yourselves without any help whatsoever from a manager. Okay? I want you to take a look at this picture. For those of you who are not familiar with Slack, it's a collaboration platform. For those who are familiar with Slack, you know that it's not just a collaboration platform with people, it's a collaboration platform with bots. What? What is a bot? A bot is an autonomous program, typically operating in some kind of a network, that can do simple things for people as though it was a coworker. Okay, that is absolutely revolutionary. And I'll explain why. Well, nobody's ready for this. Because let's say that you are able to completely crowdsource your own design. How do you handle things like career advancement, skill definition, strategic alignment, feedback, merit increases, hiring and firing? Those are all mechanisms for aligning employees, incentivizing, directing, structuring. So, in 2013, I did something crazy. And my chief operating officer let me, so it's his fault. I decided to start an experiment to see if I could create an agile development team, one of the best in the world, with absolutely no managerial oversight, with a bot that could coach them on how to coach each other. And I also built a bot as an agile administrator. All right, now I'm going to do something really dangerous. So I wanted to do a live demo. That was not possible. So I'm going to try and run this demo with the help of my friend back here who's going to run this for me a little bit. It's terribly hard to see. I'm going to talk you through it. For those of you who have bad eyesight like I do, trust me, I'll help you understand. What you're seeing here is Slack. And you're seeing a bot that I built reaching out to an employee, asking them to please provide feedback to a colleague that they said they had worked with. So it's all voluntary. They said, okay, I'm going to provide feedback to this gentleman right here from Target. And okay, fine, the bot comes to you and says, okay, well, hey, how do you feel about Chris's reliability? I'm going to hit play. No, I'm not. I'm going to hit play. All right, so, and I'm going to ask you to stop right here. Okay, so they provided some feedback. They put in a confidence factor. Hit play again, please. And now what's going to happen is that that bot is going to start up a Slack thread to begin coaching them on how to provide great feedback. Stop, please. So, anybody here familiar with a lady named I think her name is Kathy Perry, who wrote Badass, Making Users Awesome? Yeah? Okay, great book, another book that y'all should go take a look at. So, chicken sexing, going back to my chicken theme. If you take a box of chicks and I give it to, say, you, sir, and I say, here's a chick. Is it a hen or a rooster? You will have no idea, I'm guessing. Maybe you do. Teaching people how to sex a chick is incredibly difficult. Decades, rules, all this stuff. Unless you do it this way. You give them a box of chicks, and you put an expert behind them, and you pick up a chick, and you say, hen? And the expert says, no, rooster. Incredibly, after just a few hours, that process will teach you how to sex a chick. The power here is that the bot is in the moment with you in the same tool chain that you're using for everything else. And so in the moment that you need it, that bot is able to come to you and say, if you take a look over here, it says, they provided some feedback, and it said, clearly positive statements create greater outcomes. So what I did is I collected all this feedback over the course of about 5 years, and I began to do some big data analysis on the feedback that I had collected to identify features in the data that tend to drive stronger performance in this agile development team. It was things that you all know. Positive feedback drives better performance. Here, the bot happened to notice that there was a conflicting polarity in the sentiment of the feedback, which might cause confusion for the individual who's reading it. So rewrite it so the polarity is consistently positive. Another interesting thing that I discovered was that, and it needed to be actionable, of course. But what was weird was I also identified subjective feedback drove the most powerful improvement in agile development teams. Subjective feedback. We're all taught as managers, be objective, don't make it personal. But yet, when I actually looked at the feedback, it turns out that personal opinions, feelings that people were sharing drove better improvement. What? Why? Because it's a network, folks. It's all about the relationships. If you miss a delivery and that makes me upset, or you're unreliable because you don't come to my meeting, I'm talking to you, so like we know each other, but no, I'm sure you're wonderful. Then that tends to drive stronger improvements. All made available through the bot. So what I noticed is that over time, through iteration after iteration, the bot was giving a whole bunch of feedback in the beginning, coaching people on how to give good feedback, but then over time, the feedback dropped. Because what was happening was, it was chicken sexing. Individuals were being taught by the bot to provide great feedback, driving stronger performance, such that those individuals just got good at it over time. Except for this one guy. His name is Byron. And so I noticed this. Byron always had like 3 rounds of feedback with the bot. And I never quite understood that until I was presenting at the Slack conference. I have my official Slack socks on. From that conference. And I said, Byron, I brought up this weird thing that I noticed, that certain people, and I didn't say him, I said certain people seem to provide feedback multiple times. And he comes to me afterwards, he's like, it's because I always am pissed off when I first write my feedback. I'm always angry. And if you ever met Byron, you'd be surprised by that. But he said that he would blow off that steam, and the bot would say, make this more positive. It would provide this feedback. And that just gave him this iterative way of getting to that place. The important point was, at the end of that, he was providing great feedback to his colleagues. And then this is all automatically generated from the bot. So every single person receives a feedback report that the bot then is able to give you very concise, hard-hitting guidance on how to improve your performance. This is where I'm going next. So on Tuesday or Monday, I was at Harvard Business School talking to some of the business luminaries there because I want to package them. So here's the thing. I'm able to do a deep categorization of the feedback that's coming in to look for topics in performance feedback. Well, if I'm able to say, hey, look, people are saying really great things about your efficiency, and I go to say Marshall Goldsmith. Anybody know him? Okay, well, for the rest of you, you got to go read his books too. So now you've got 3 homework assignments from this. Are you kidding me? All right, so what you can do is instead of having only the executives receiving coaching, right, what we've done is we've actually gotten the entire organization to coach one another with support from this bot that's doing a deep analysis and can then actually take advice from luminaries and deliver that in a way that's very hard-hitting and appropriate. So I'm working with folks from Harvard, Yale, Stanford, and Rutgers. The last one is a psychologist. And this is the effect. So, not a lot of time to go into the dozens of stories that are in this graph. But this is what the other thing that the bot produces for us is what work actually looks like. It's not a hierarchy. It's a network. And what you see here is the strategic alignment. Thank you to my friend Andy Zucri here, who helped me with some of this work around OKRs. But what you see are individual, the border of the circle is the color of their initiative. So you got a blue team, a magenta team, a red team. The darkness of the circle is the strength of the player. White means you fell below performance expectations. Black means you're awesome. So now, as a coaching team, we can think about and coach the organism, because that's what it is. It's not a machine, okay? It's not an individual person. The real value is in the relationships that are in here. And so now what we do is we coach the organism. We coach the entire group. And what that does is it produces this. So I think it was Target guys again. Forgive me, but you guys did awesome. Love your presentation. But one of the things you said is every 6 months you ask, should we continue investing in this? We decided that the red team, we should no longer consider investing in that. Look how disjointed that team is. The red team is on the far right-hand side, disjointed, not working very effectively. The blue team on the left, that was the labs team that started with this model. But then after some extensive coaching, this is what we got to. Very tight, cohesive team, fast-moving, hard-hitting. Because we're treating them like an organization, like an organism. No hierarchy required. Sounds like a massive change, right? It's not. It's already here. Again, if you use Slack, raise your hands. Great. Keep your hands up. Anybody use Teams? Microsoft Teams? Okay? A whole bunch of people. Microsoft Teams is everywhere too. Slack is everywhere too. This was in May of 2018. So this kind of collaboration is already here. People are already beginning to transition to networked organizations. What's happening, though, is we're just not harnessing that. We're not thinking about it in this way. We don't realize what's happening. So we aren't prepared. I'll let you read this. So here's the thing. Did this actually produce results? Oh, my God, yes. So we did 3 different engagement surveys with a well-known consulting company who's famous for doing engagement surveys. First year was 88%. Next year, it was 87%. The last year where I was running the experiment, it was 92%. For everybody who was using this model within the organization, it was between 50 and 200 people at any given time. 88, 87, and 92% engagement scores. What? That's crazy. Even more amazing is that the results that came from this team opened up hundreds of millions of dollars in market potential for the company. They ended up having the highest concentration of skills in the entire organization because of this self-coaching model. The thing that was most important to me, though, the thing that really made my day, was stuff like this. So I've actually left where I did this. I am so grateful to the opportunity they gave me. And I'm starting my own company around this because it was so incredible, the effect that it had on people. Because they loved their jobs. They loved the camaraderie. They loved working towards a common purpose. And the best part of this whole thing, the most ironic part of it, is that it turns out that bots can make us human again. Thank you very much.